Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Greetings, greetings, greetings to everyone who are going to join us now or will be watching the video later. This video is part of our normal, well, it used to be ongoing series of Quran and layman terms, but we had stopped doing them for a while. Today is our basically comeback. Today, basically, we are going to go through Surah number 76, Surah Al-Insan, or in English, the man. But before we do, I had a brief discussion on Atheists Facebook group, a quick chat with a few people about this series, and had to mention a bit of a shout out to Robert Thompson. Robert had asked a couple of questions about what's hadith, when and how it can be credible, and all that. So, before I start today's subject, which is reading Surah number 76 in layman terms, I'll just explain a few things about Islam for those who don't really have that much knowledge about it, specifically about Sunni Islam, not Shiites. That's a whole different kettle of fish. Sunnis, we have, they have, they have the Quran. Quran on its own, it's difficult to read, as I will show later. So, accompanied with that, you will have tafsir, which is basically interpretation of the Quran. And those interpretations, there will be some credible ones that was used for decades and decades and decades, and there are less known ones, and there are some modern ones who ignored all that. All the traditional ones rely on hadith, which is the second aspect of Sunni Islam. Hadith is basically the literal translation is a saying. So it's something. Bonsoir, Idris. Bonsoir, good evening. Hello, Soha. Basically, it's what the Prophet had said. And he said lots of things in his lifetime, and his mates kept repeating what he said. But hadith, to be credible, for that saying to be credible, i.e., true, and it was copied from the Prophet correctly, they have a system of audit trail. That's about it. It's an audit trail system. That's what hadith is. So, over the centuries, there were quite few people who attempted to collect all the credible ones, and if it's credible, they call it sahih, which is correct. So basically, all these hadiths will start by someone said, I heard X said, and X heard Y said, and Y heard Z said, and so on. And they check that audit trail. Each one of those people, have they lied before? Are they known to have said lies? Had anyone heard them say a lie? What's their memory like? All these things. So if all checks out, and then they hear the same thing from a different chain, from a different audit trail, then that must be true. So the most famous ones, a guy called Bukhari, and another one, a guy called Muslim. Uh, one of my guests who is late, I gave him the link and I said, just click the link. On the desktop. I have to go to desktop. Hold on. Go to my channel and I'll leave the link in comments section. Yeah. Sorry about that. Getting back to it. So that's what hadith is. So whenever you discuss anything with a Muslim in a debate or a discussion, or the whole purpose of this series to talk to those people who live in the West, and you're walking down the park, and a lovely, really nice old man with a beard, he starts handing out Qurans, and he will start reciting verses from the Quran, and he translates it to you, showing these nice things. So basically, you understand that his translation is based on a hadith he collected somewhere. But when you say, hold on, is that hadith sahih? Is it credible? Is it mentioned in Bukhari? Is it mentioned in Muslim? All these things. And then they will say, oh no, it's not all that. There is another way. That's basically all BS. So let's join my first guest, JP. How you doing, mate?
Hi there.
How you doing?
Yeah, not bad.
Good, good, good. Is it your first time ever on YouTube?
It is actually, yes. Otherwise, I wouldn't have looked like I'd just come off some sort of rugby match.
Rugby match in lockdown. Cheers, mate. Okay, so basically today's episode, I pick some verses from the Quran,
yep.
read the translation from two sources I picked up on the internet, and then I read the actual official interpretation, and I'll translate that live, and then you tell me what you think. By the way, before we start with all that, if you want to introduce yourself in terms of your just minimal personal information, just your faith or ideology background.
Yep. Yeah, I'm John Spencer. I was brought up in an Irish community, so we are brought up as a Catholic. I'm really kind of, I suppose, a lapsed Catholic in a way, but my wife is a Christian, and I sometimes go to some services with her.
Mm.
So
you're a lapsed Catholic, but do you believe in God?
Well, my wife, I've been going to some services which are very different than the very strict and fundamental services of Catholicism, which when you're brought into them from an early age, the service is very repetitive, and it really doesn't often mean very much to you at all. But when you see it from in a different way, you can be enlightened. And one of the services I went to was with Hillsong, and they book out the Dominion Theatre at the bottom of Tottenham Court Road.
Mm.
So some people might know it from We Will Rock You and various sort of West End shows. So it's a large theatre, and they put on an Easter service, which was very good. It's very spectacular. It was like a West End theatre, and the message got across to me better than the years I'd been forced to go to Mass, to a very austere service. Like I say, very repetitive, very dictatorial. So it was interesting to see, to think of it from another way. And I have thought about religion, and I'm probably, I don't know if the word's agnostic. I believe that there's something, but I'm not 100% sure what it is. So that's kind of where I'm at, really.
Good. So yeah, basically you're agnostic. There must be something. We don't know what it is. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Cool. Let's start then. So for the non-Muslims or don't really know a lot about Islam, the Quran is basically written in not chapters, but in sections, and each section is called a surah. So each surah, it can be long or it can be short. Some of them are only a few words, and some of them are 70 pages. But more or less, they are organized in Quran in ascending order. So the longest one at the beginning and the shortest ones towards the end. So this is one of the shorter ones towards the end. It's called, as I mentioned earlier, called man, insan, basically. So insan in Arabic, man in English. So that's how it starts. Okay. Hath there come upon a man? No, hold on. Let's see this one. This one is bit better. Has there not come upon man a period of time when he was not a thing, even mentioned? So that's how it started. Starts with talking about man. So for someone who've never read the Quran before, has no idea what it's talking about, with no reference other than that sentence, John, what do you think he's referring to man?
Has there come upon man a period of time when he was not a thing mentioned? Has there come upon man? Well, I suppose just mankind, I suppose.
That's fair enough, yeah. So if I go back to my favorite interpreter, a guy called Tabari. He's one of those guys who actually go read. Oh, he's a famous scholar. He will check everything and say, okay, this is what it means based on all the other stuff that the Prophet had said before. Okay, so basically he means specifically, it's not any man. There's a specific man, and he's the first man. He's talking about Adam. And he starts telling a long story that has nothing to do with the whole thing. And he mentions, but by that period, because it says, has there, no, not this one. Which one was I reading? Yeah, it was this one. Has there come upon a man a period of time? So which period of time he's talking about? It turned out, by the way, there's this sentence here. It's my favorite. It's the most repeated sentence in all the books that interprets the Quran. It says, those who interpret, I call them the interpreters. So the interpreters had differed in interpreting this verse. So all the scholars who interpret the Quran, they came up with different answers. So which one do we take? But the most one here, it says, oh, that period of time he's talking about, it's the piece of clay. You know, Adam was made of clay. That's what it says in Quran. So apparently God got that piece of clay and he modeled it and he left it there to dry, like a apple pie. You have to put it on the kitchen window for a bit. So he did something like that. He modeled the piece of clay, left it out to dry for 40 years. And that was the period he's talking about. So God, the creator of heaven and earth, 97 million light years wide, 14 billion years old. Yeah, he had to leave that bit of clay for 40 years by our time to dry out, maybe. So he's referring to that period. And then we move on to the next verse. Indeed, we created man from a sperm drop mixture that we may try him, and we made him hearing and seeing. If we read again, if I go back, let's read what the interpreters actually say. It doesn't say that. If I'm translating it on my own, we created man from a drop, and then there's a couple of words that I don't know what they mean, although I speak the native language. And then we made him all hearing, all seeing, or hearing and seeing. But those two words, what do they mean? So, guess what? The interpreters had differed in interpreting what it means. The different ones. So it means this drop of man's water is mixed with a drop of woman's water.
Yeah.
And that creates man. So he thinks that what comes out of us is mixed with what comes out of the lady parts during sex. And those two liquids are mixed together and they will create a clot of blood, and that clot of blood will become a bit larger, and then it will become bone, and then it's covered in muscles. And that is how fetuses are created. So that's what the first guy had interpreted it. And the other guy said, no, it's because it means, hold on, where's the other one? By the way, I'm keeping all this text that you don't understand for any smart ass who would say, no, I'm lying. There it is in Arabic for anyone who claims I'm lying. Read it yourself if you know. Yeah. And the other interpretation is, no, God meant, didn't I create you from a drop of thick water that is in color different from the drop of the woman's water? So they have different colors. WTF?
Yes.
And there's some more. Yeah, it's created from different colors. And then this other guy, where is it? There's another one that's really funny. Shit, I read it this morning. Ah, there it is. Different colors because the drop of a man, basically they're trying to say it's sperm. It isn't. It just says a drop of water. In the new age, we call it a sperm.
Mm.
So the drop of man is white and red. And the drop that comes from the woman is red and green. And when they're all mixed together, a baby is made.
Mm.
Magic.
Can I ask a question?
Please, any minute, go ahead.
Are the interpreters at different periods in time? Are they modern day scholars, or are they?
Oh no. Most of the ones that are famous are about 400 to 800 years after the Prophet died.
Yeah.
But what they are using statements made by the Prophet that's been basically by word of mouth from generation to generation, and everybody agrees that yes, that is true, and it's been moved on from generation to generation in the right way, and no deviation had happened because we've heard exactly the same thing from different sources. So the Prophet didn't only recite the different verses of Quran, but he also lived his life, and living his life, whatever he does, it will become the thing that all people will do. So if he would go to the toilet starting with his left foot, that's it. All Muslims can't go to the toilet with their right foot. It can't happen. And these things people have learned from word of mouth, generation to generation. And that's what it used to interpret the Quran.
Yeah, well, in the Bible, you have the prophets, which are Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and they go in ascending order from Jesus. So Matthew knew Jesus, and then it goes Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and I think John was I don't know how many years, but years more than what he knew from a different generation than Jesus. I don't know exactly because I haven't studied this since I was a child. And as the as the Gospels, because that's what they're called, ascend from Jesus, the stories differ. And to some extent, even though I'm not a biblical scholar, they become more elaborate. That's not always the case, but normally from my teaching of it at school, they become more elaborate as they move away from Jesus. So
which doesn't make sense, right?
No, it doesn't. And but when you say that 400 years in the old days, that would be 10 generations, because we're looking at 40 years per. Some people might live to 80, but average maybe 45 or whatever. I don't know what the average age was, but you're looking at passed on in 10 generations time, and also without any other mode of communication and the written word. And then you've got the literacy rate that was probably something in the region of maybe only 1%. So you have all of these factors in there, generations on, no way of communicating by the written word, illiteracy at 90%, 90%, 99%, I don't even know, within different regions. So you have all of these problems. and of course the eroding of literature in terms of just the fact that it actually erodes physically.
That's actually a good point. I think I need to do an episode of how the Quran was compiled, because it was written on pieces of bones, animal skin, and it was scattered everywhere. And after the Prophet died, years later, and one of his mates who became actually the ruler, he thought, yeah, let's get everything into one book. And he did. And then after he died, the other mate of Muhammad became the ultimate ruler. And he said, whoa, hold on. My also mate, and he's a friend, the previous ruler, when he collected his book, that wasn't right, because I did my own homework and it's slightly different. Let's burn all the copies that the previous guy did and keep mine.
That's right. So and then you have the power struggle between these people.
Yeah.
Them bringing in their own their own political messages, which are quite clear in the Bible, because of the fact that the first few popes were Roman, and there are a lot of messages in the Bible that seem to say that you need to pay your Roman taxes, you need to do this, you need to do that, which seems very bizarre for somebody who was being from an occupied territory, which was brutally occupied by severe, brutal measures. It does seem bizarre, but yeah, this is all part of it, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's continue reading. So where did we get to? We got to the third verse, straight forward. Indeed, we guided him to the way, be he grateful or be he ungrateful. So basically, God is saying, I sent you a message. That's the right way to reach me. It's up to you to walk it or not. And indeed, we have prepared for the disbelievers chains and shackles and a blaze. So chains and shackles, these are not the normal shackles. These are the neck shackles, because your hands will be locked to your neck and then chained. But again, he's talking about the period before man was anything worth of mentioning. So Adam hasn't been created yet. So while Adam's been left on the windowsill, being dried out, he already prepared hell for us. He hasn't decided to do anything with Adam. He hasn't created Eve yet. No. He already had that sadistic view. I know you will disobey me, and then I'll mess you up. Big time. Okay, so indeed the righteous will drink from a cup of wine whose mixture is of kafur. So there's a cocktail, wine-based cocktail, with a hint of kafur. Apparently kafur is a big old tree, and the bark of which will be used as medicine, but it's also the oil that comes out of that tree is used as perfume. So it smells nice. Okay, so those righteous people, not the ones that will be shackled to their necks, the nice ones will be greeted in heaven with a cup of wine. No, not wine. It's a cocktail. It's cocktail night. First night in heaven. It's cocktail night, but it's wine based, and it has a hint of kafur in it. Nice. Sounds okay. And a spring. They will. So it's not that they will get also a spring of water, which the righteous servants of Allah will drink. I just had a cocktail, mate. I don't need water. They will make it gush forth in force and abundance. Or it might be that cocktail will come out of the spring. Not so sure about that. But here's the thing, by the way, he keeps promising people of a pure water fountain, because they were in the desert. There is no such thing as pure water or anything. Even wells, they're always dirty, because animals will drink from them. Sometimes I even read some stories. Animal carcasses will be in the well, dead animals, and they will still drink it, and it's fine. They have no issues with that. Our friend Mazen reminds us that kafur contains toxins. Yes, of course, everything contains toxins, but I think in the olden days it used to be used as a medicine, or at least that's what the Wikipedia page told me this morning. And again, now he's still talking about those who will go to heaven, those who fulfill their vows and fear a day whose evil will be widespread. Okay, so now let's pause a bit, because he's talking about those, again, the righteous ones, who fulfill their vows. Fair enough, these are nice people. And fear the day, okay, they fear the judgment day, whose evil will be widespread. What is the source of evil, people? All religions know it. Who is the source of evil?
The devil.
Exactly. So God created this day, and this day, whose evil will be widespread. So he created evil of the judgment day. Judgment day has evil, and he created that evil before we were even created. Really? So is Satan, the devil, is the source of all evils? Are we sure? He's still talking about now all these nice people. Basically, these are their statistics or descriptions. They give food in spite of love. Now, this one's translated. No, that's poor translation. This one, and feed with food the needy rich, the orphan, and the prisoner for the love of him, by him, God, because they love God, so they feed the needy and the prisoner and the orphan. Yeah, that's fine. Let's get back to this one. It's large enough. We feed you only for the continence of Allah. We wish not from you reward or gratitude. So when they feed the needy, they say, we do that because we want a reward from Allah, not from you. Fair enough, that's okay. Indeed, we fear from our Lord a day austere and distressful. Okay. We need to pause here for a minute. So they feed the needy because they want God to reward them, and they fear God, and they fear a day which is harsh and distressful. I bet, and I'm willing to put £1,000 on it, if I walk down the street in any Arabic country and say this word to someone, do you know what it means? Nobody will. Nobody. Kamtarira. What the Kamtarira? It doesn't, I've never heard of it before. It's in the Quran. Outside Quran, I've never heard of it. It doesn't give any. See, in Arabic, we actually can disassemble a word and then take it back to its base, and then we can understand the basis of every word, every verb, everything. Abusa, I can understand. It's from a, be, and then sin here. That's it. Abasa, which is frown. Cool, I get that. This one, no. I took it from every angle, disassemble it in every way, put it back together, and it's nothing. I got absolutely nothing from it. Let's see what our good friend Tabari say about it. So, Kamtarira. So it's what did he say? Distressful. So basically, it says very. It's very. It's too much. So we fear a day that is frown. The day is frowning. Very. So it's very frowning. The day is frowning. But this very bit. So this guy just say it's too much, and the other says no. Hold on. It means it's not the day that's frowning. It's the kafir, the infidels. Moi will frown so far, so hard, that your eyes will be squeezed, and then tar will come out of your eyes instead of tears. You know tar, the side product, byproduct of oil. Tar, well, that's what it means. But that's not what it says here. We're talking about the day. They fear the day when it will be so harsh, like as if the day is frowning, and it's Cantarero, which doesn't mean anything. And then, but God will protect them from the evil of that day and give them radiance and happiness. Again, he mentions that the day has evil in it, and he created the day. It's not the devil, not Satan. And he will reward them for what they patiently endured, a garden. So that finally, that's it. End of days. I got to heaven. What do I get after the cocktail with kafur in it? What do I get? A garden and silk garments. Do you like silk, John?
Sounds nice.
Yeah, but we can buy silk. It's not a big deal. Anybody can buy silk now.
There's no mention of women yet.
No, not on this one. No, not on this one. Oh wait, no, the rated 18 part comes later. But so far, what he's promising people is a garden and some silks. And yeah, in that garden, you will be reclining therein on adorned couches. So, there will be couches. You don't need to sit on the floor. There will be nice couches. So that's the best description of heaven so far. We get silk, and you sit in a garden on a couch. And they will not see there in any burning sun or freezing cold. The weather will be nice. Just like here. No, today is not nice. Last week was fine. Do you have a garden, John?
Yep.
Yeah, me too. Why do we need to go to heaven if it's just a garden and a couch? I have a gazebo in my garden. I don't suffer the burning sun. I have a gazebo. Okay, and near above them are its shades. Okay. Okay. So they have a gazebo there, and it's fruit. So it's not a gazebo. It's actually a fruit tree sheltering them. To be picked will be lowered in compliance. Okay. So it's a smart tree. It will follow your movement. If you're up high, it will lift itself, and if you lie down, it will lower itself. Just whenever you want, just reach out and then grab the fruit. You don't need to do anything. And there will be circulated among them vessels of silver and cups having been created clear as glass. Okay, circulated among them. Who will circulate the vessels of silver? We're not there yet. Clear glasses made from silver, of which they have determined the measure. So when you sit there, someone will circulate the vessels with the silver glasses, but the size of it, you will determine. You can say double, can I have a large pint? They will give you whatever you want.
Sounds nice.
But so far so good. And they will be given a drink, to drink a cup of wine whose mixture of ginger. Now, do they change the flavor? The cocktail at the beginning, you remember, it was kafur flavor. Now the cocktail is ginger.
Nice. Okay. Have a bit of variation, I suppose.
Yeah. But you get only 2 versions so far. And then, and you will also have a fountain there within paradise. It's called Salsabil. Fine. There will circulate among them young boys made eternal. When you see them, you would think them as beautiful as scattered pearls. So the waiting staff are young boys. Are so beautiful. When you see them, you would think they look like scattered pearls, which means they are white. So they like boys in heaven. And in a different place, they specifically say, in a different verse, in a different place in Quran, they specifically say they don't bleed.
They don't bleed?
They don't bleed, no. I guess Michael Jackson would love that place. could have converted to Islam if someone would actually recited this verse to him and the other one. It was going so well until we get to the boys. Why get the boys in it? Why would you do that? And when you look there in paradise, you will see pleasure and great dominion. They were upon the inhabitants will be green garments of fine silk and brocade, and they will be adorned with bracelets of silver, and their Lord will give them a purifying drink. I don't even need to go through the different translations. This looks just silly enough. That's it. Now, Mazen keeps saying it's gay sex. No, Mazen, these are children. We're talking about boys here. It's called pedophilia. So basically, if you're a pedophile here on Earth, just don't do anything and hold it. When you go up there, you can get all the kids you want. That's what it's saying. So that is your word. Indeed, this is for you a reward, and your efforts has been appreciated. Indeed, it is we who have sent down to you, O Muhammad, means the Quran, progressively. No. He likes, Donald Trump, bigly. It's bigly. It was so big. It was big, bigly. He does that a lot in Quran. So we nazzalna, so we revealed, we told you the Quran. Nazzalna, as in, it descended. The Quran nazal, so it went down. We sent down the Quran to you, tanzila. So we sent downly, bigly. That's basically. Trump's vocabulary is very similar to Quran. Let's put it that way. Okay, so be patient to the decision of your Lord and do not obey from among them sinners or ungrateful. So far, so good. Just be patient for the decision of your God. Do not obey from among them sinners or ungrateful. Now, which verse is this? 24. It's straightforward, isn't it? If you read it, copy it, read it, translate it literally, that's what it means. I'm okay with that. But, which one was it? 24. 24. Okay, so here goes the interpretation. They are talking about different people. They are talking about, oh no, he was very specific. This verse came down because a guy from Mecca at the time, from the tribe, said, I'll give you women, I'll give you money, just stop doing what you're doing with this new Islam and Quran nonsense. So basically, out of the blue, out of context, this has nothing to do with the whole story. It's talking about two specific people he didn't like in Mecca.
So let me just. So if you sin, so what's sin then? So if you're going against the Lord, what's the sin? What are you doing wrong? What is it that you? So
are you talking about Islam in general?
No. From these verses,
he says,
if you do good. You drink a lot. You have free drink, free food, and you've got these boys running around and all this kind of stuff. And so if that's what you do to be good, what do you do to be bad?
Don't listen to God and ignore Quran.
Okay.
So basically, surprisingly, this is one of the few verses that mostly only talks about what happens if you're good. Most of the other ones focus on the other side. Just I'll mess you up. If you don't do, I'll mess you up bigly. I'll mess you up, and then detailed description of what happens to you in hell. So just mention your name, the name of your Lord, in prayer, morning and evening, and then during the night, prostrate to him and exalt him along. So basically, these are the times of prayers in Islam. And indeed, these disbelievers, so, and again, he's very specific. Sorry, the verse itself, it just says, those disbelievers love the immediate and leave behind them the grave day. So basically, they love this life and leave behind them what happens in the afterlife or the judgment day. This is again very specific. It's talking about only when you read the interpretation, you'll find out, oh no, it's talking about only the people around him in Mecca at the time who didn't listen to him. We have created them and strengthened their forms, and when we will, we can change their likeness with alteration. Hold on. So he's saying to God's talking to Muhammad, we created him, we made them strong because those people who are annoying him are like the higher ranks of society at the time. So we made them strong, and if we want, we can change them. Basically, we take them away and annihilate everybody and bring new people, if we wish. That's God talking. And indeed, this is a reminder. So he who wills may take to his Lord's way. And you do not will except that Allah wills. Indeed, Allah is ever knowing and wise. Okay, so you remember this thing called free will? So usually all those who follow the Abrahamic religions claim that God gave us free will. But a lot of nihilistic atheists say, in reality, there is no such thing as free will. We are slaves to our circumstances, genetics, the geographic accident that we call our birthplace. So that's kind of the argument. So Judaism, Christianity, Islam, God gave us free will. Let's read those two verses again. This is a reminder. So he who wills may take to his Lord a way. So if I wish, I want to follow the path to my Lord, I will. If I wish, I will. But you do not will except that Allah wills. So I cannot wish to follow the path of God until God decides that, yeah, I shall follow the path of God. Where the F is free will? Where did it go? Suddenly, there is no free will. That's in the Quran. That's not me.
Will accept that Allah wills. Yeah. So what was the one before? Sorry.
That's the one before it.
Indeed, there is. Yeah, but that's kind of contradictory, isn't it? But
exactly. Exactly. And here's another stupid thing in Islam, especially when it comes to hadith, which is what the Prophet said. There is a part of Sharia that talks about, there's a thing called, I don't know how to translate it in English. Mazen, if you know what it means in English, help me out. Fuck, I even forgot what it means in Arabic. Hold on. Which one is it? 30. Let's go to 30. No, not this one. It's the one before it, I think. Mitink is the one before it. Mitink. Shit, basically, I forgot. So there is a thing in Quran. So a verse will come in and let's say, kill all the infidels. Or it says, don't kill those who don't follow your religion. Just treat them nicely. And then a few years later, another verse comes in and says, kill the infidels. Kill them all. So there's a section in Sharia that says, yeah, this one that came 3 years later just canceled the first one. So although the first one is still part of Quran, people still read it, but it's cancelled. It doesn't work anymore.
Is that because it was later on, or?
Hmm?
Is that because it was written later, or?
Yeah, so it sounds like God changed his mind and something else came after it, and it's just
But how do
that's
we know
it.
that was later or before?
Well, the date, not the date, or the sequence of these verses is allegedly known, so they know which one came after which, and that's allegedly. So one of the interpretations of this contradiction, it says, yeah, verse 30 cancelled verse 29 in the same
So,
fucking surah.
so
One,
we've got to take a leap of faith that verse 29 was before 30, but maybe
ah,
29 was after 30.
Ruby, thank you. Abrogation. Abrogation, that's what it means. So basically, one verse will cancel the other one. So some say that 30 abrogated 29,
Hmm.
allegedly.
But if it's written on bone and on this, that, and the other, it might be difficult to kind of get a grip, especially if it's 400 years later.
Yeah, I don't know. So basically, and the last one, 31, and I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. He admits whom he wills into his mercy, but the wrongdoers he has prepared for them a painful punishment. Ta-da! Thank you very much. End of surah. So, what do you think of the Eternal Boys so far?
Well, yeah.
Ah, ah, hold on, hold on. Do you want more 18? Hold on. 18 plus. No, not you. Oh, there you are. So it is 78, 33. Just before you are an honored guest and you asked about the women earlier, I shall give you some women. 78, 33. Good. 78. 2. 78, 33. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay, so yeah, let's start here. For the righteous is attainment, gardens, and grapevines. So basically, if you're good, you go up there. What will you get? Gardens and grapevines, and full-breasted companions of equal ages. Full-breasted companions of equal age. كواعب أترابا. But that is not what the Quran say, my friend. 78. What was it? 33. I don't even need to read it. This word, it's driven from the heel of the foot. The heel of the foot, it's called ka'ab. Okay?
Mm.
Kawa'ib means those little girls who just matured, just reached puberty, where they just started to have breasts. And the breast is just as small as the heel of your foot.
Mm.
Underage pornography.
Mm.
And
That's
this other part is equal age, so you'll get many, many of them, all the same age.
mm.
I need to make an episode how Quran was collected, another one just about 18 plus verses from the Quran. Okay, so we have a question for you, John. Earlier on, someone wrote this. What do you think of this guy brought you for? Did he bring you to approach you for Islam, or you could be here today on screen for presented yourself as Christian preacher on behalf of? No, okay. So basically, he thought I fooled you to come in and preach Islam in a wrong way to you and show Islam in bad light,
Mm.
in false pretenses. That's what he thinks. They don't know that we're mates, basically.
Yeah,
We worked with each other for years.
yeah. No, I just was interested in Wiz's YouTube channel, and I just wanted to come in. I didn't actually know I was a guest. I thought I was part of a kind of a Zoom call in my own
And
naivety.
you were. No, you were. There were like three people
Yeah.
who promised me that they will come. A guy from Florida and
Ah,
a couple, well, all of them were Americans, but
oh,
none of them turned up. I kept sending reminders and none of them turned up. And that's why I kept badgering you, because it looks like you're the
wow.
only one that I can reach by phone. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
quite
supposed to be.
embarrassing. I couldn't come on my phone because I've got screen time on it, which stops me from looking at my phone beyond 7 o'clock. Like a child, like you do to a small child. I have to be treated like a child because otherwise for for the whole.
Tell me, tell me the truth. Did you set it up to yourself or the missus did it?
No, I set it up, but I can't
Ah,
have the code. Otherwise, if I had the code, it would defeat the whole purpose of it. So that's
fair
why I had
enough.
to come on the desktop, which is better anyway than coming on for the
Mhm.
more. Yeah, I'm sitting in my chair. I'm not. I was going to take the call in the hot tub. Now
That
I
would have
didn't
been
know
funny.
the center of attention. So yeah, you would have seen. So yeah,
No,
so
it's a
I'm glad.
light-hearted.
Yeah.
Most of my episodes are light-hearted. It would have been funny, brilliant if you'd done it
Yeah.
from the. Anyway, so do you have any questions?
Um, no, I think about religion quite a lot because I was totally immersed in it from a early age, and really forced to believe or to go to attend services, which you can then become resentful of. There was quite a bad incident. Was that our priest, who was a favourite priest of our parish, was actually convicted of paedophilia and is serving a life sentence, which brought resentment to me and to a number of other people who kind of resented the hypocrisy of the whole thing. But then, as I've moved forwards, I have, as I say, potentially I am agnostic, but I have been looking at the way the Bible was written, and I do fear that it was written as a form of, as they say, opium of the masses,
Mm.
and it was used as a tool um, to keep people in their place. So there's a lot of different things in there, and I'd imagine maybe, because I don't know anything about the Quran, maybe that was part of this potentially has effect as well. I don't know that, but
There is a strong sentiment that most of the Quran and vast majority of what the Prophet said, it was documented in the Abbasid era, which was hundreds of years after the Prophet, and it was a huge empire. And Islam was the perfect opioid to control the masses,
yeah.
and that's when it
Well,
was all written.
there's actually a group of people who believed that they call it the gentle Messiah. So Jesus was a gentle person who believed in love and turn the other cheek, was actually invented because the Jewish original Messiah was a warrior. So, as a very clever technique, they gave the Jews their Messiah, but their Messiah was what many would call in those days a weak man who didn't want to fight the Romans, but actually believe that if you just get on with everybody, you will be rewarded in heaven.
Mm.
Now
He
that
went all
means
Michael Jackson on them. I'm another little fighter.
yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of yeah. It's very hard to understand, but there was I think the thing is, it's a little bit like the coronavirus and various things like this, but it's a lot more so. It is the illiteracy and the age, the illiteracy, the new. So there's illiteracy in terms of the written literacy, and then there's numerical illiteracy as well. And that would be huge in those days, and there probably wouldn't be schooling for 95, 98, 99, I don't know how many percent. Of course, from there, like we've been, like this is still prevalent in our age, but if you tell people things that are not educated, and you tell them horrible things are going to happen to them, they get scared, and when they're scared, you can control them. So there's a few stages, isn't there? And if you're scared, but then you're rewarded as well, then it is a way of subjugating people. And I don't. It's as we said before, or as I was saying, you know, you're talking about 40 generations of people. And I've always said that if you think life matters, name me your 8 great-grandparents. Now that's only 3 generations ago. So, you know, if you
I can't. I know my 8th great-grandparent.
Well, I don't. I don't think people would, but some people would.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
That's all right. But do you know your your 6th great-great?
No, get to 8 and that's it.
That? So we're talking about 10 generations now, and that's from I've got pictures of my great-grandparents downstairs. You're not going to have pictures of your great. So there's a lot of problems here in many different ways, aren't there? To understand that this is actually something you can really put your last penny on, that this is accurate.
It's the perfect storm of Chinese whispers. It's not in the same room, it's not in the same setting, it's generations apart. So definitely things will go awry, and you can insert a few things here and there, and by the 20th generation, the first message is totally gone. It's a whole new story. Anyhow, so let's wrap it up. It's been lovely having you, John.
No, thank you, guys. Thank you for.
Hopefully, I'm going to prepare a new episode this time with my good friend Ruby, and she must have a couple of Yankee friends, and I'll give you a heads up. You might want to join us at the time.
I would.
And then it will be proper Zoom style video call with many people.
I will do. I'd love to.
Perfect. Thank you very much, my friend, and thank you to all the audience. Oh, I haven't noticed my friend Fikri is in the audience. Hello, Mr. Fikri. Thank you, Mazen, Fribino, Suha, you're brilliant, and all the others. Brilliant. Thank you again. Have a good night. Stay home. Stay safe.
Thanks, Wiz.